Whenever a new market opens, it's first come, first serve. I immediately understand that the next trend will be the RWA market. It's currently evaluated as the $17 trillion market. Any sort of property in the real world can be considered part of this RWA market. All in X was able to create a perfect roadmap. We have the spot trading, future trading, we have the stocks, all sorts of commodities. You can trade crypto. We have governance, and we have liquidity pools for the staking. I would like the people to be more serious, be more careful, be a little bit more conservative, to be able to take responsibility of their own actions. People should actually filter out information that is being spread through the media. Don't be afraid. Prepare yourself. Even though you're not going to be investing in any of the cryptos, it's still very good information that you understand the next market.
My guest today is Chris Chan. He's the International Ambassador for the Allnex Exchange. Chris, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Chris, you're the International Ambassador for the Allnex Exchange. Tell us how you got into this and why you chose this particular field. Tell us your story.
Well, I'm currently 40 years old, and I live in South Korea for the moment. But when I was very young, I had the chance to go overseas to the United States when I was about 2 years old. And I lived in the USA for about 7 years. And after that, when I was 12, I was able to move to France and live there for about 4 years. So I do have a very bilingual, trilingual background. I can speak Korean, English, and French fluently. And not only do I have the linguistic background, I do have the cultural background where I originate, where my conscience actually says that I feel more American than I am South Korean. So as you can see, my English is, I have an American accent. And I was mostly raised up in the Western cultures. So I have communication skills with maybe a lot of Europeans or Americans, because I do also have a mindset that has been originated from the United States, because I got the education from that area. That actually helped me to build my own consensus in this type of business, in the global financial business, where I can commute with many global leaders in the world and to penetrate the market without any hesitation or any boundaries. So the reason why I came back to Korea when I was 15 is because there were some, when I was in the States, when I was in America and France, I did face some racial discrimination issues, because you can see that I have an Asian appearance, and although I do have an American mindset and an American accent, in the 1980s, 1990s, it was very difficult to be fully approved as an American when you're living in that era. So I felt the dilemma of whether I should keep living in the state in those areas as an alien, or should I come back to where my original my ethnicity originates, which is South Korea. So I decided with my mother to come back to Korea when I was about 15 or 16. So I finished high school, university. I did my first business, my first job, all that I experienced in Korea. I even actually went to the Korean Army for 2 years. And after I turned 30, I soon realized that I belonged in South Korea, because it's where all my friends, all my family members stay. And that's where I kept living for the past about 20 years. 25 years I've been staying in Korea ever since the year 2000. And it was not easy for me to get a very stable life as a person who has lived abroad for such a long time, because I know that I have the abilities to expand, but maybe it was because of my inexperience when I was very young, or because I had very big dreams. So I wanted to become better than anyone else in the world. So I didn't want to become an employee. I wanted to become a business owner, maybe a shareholder or any type of. I wanted to be in the top, not in the middle or the bottom. So I read many books. I met a lot of people who were successful. I admired those who were teaching the people how to become successful in this financial world. And I realized that if you wanted to earn the type of income that you never earned before, you should be able to do the work that you have never tried before. So with that mindset on, I was not afraid of failing, and I kept going over through trial and error, and eventually I think I was very lucky to find myself in the MLM market and also in the crypto market, because in 2015, after all of that hardship, a few years after I got married and I had children, I was searching for a type of business that was very high profit, very giving me high yields. And cryptocurrency was the thing that came into my life and gave me the ability to decide which was best for my life. So I immediately decided that I wanted to become a blockchain enthusiast. And from ever since 2015, I've been studying Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the development issues that were raised in the crypto market. And I've had my trial and errors, and I consider myself partially an expertise because I know the background, I know the history, and I know what kind of events, all the milestones that this market has overgone during the past 10 years. And not only have I participated in MLM crypto events, but I've also made my own tokens, made my own companies. I've made my own decentralized exchange, a centralized exchange. I've partnered with many projects, many exchanges, many financial projects in this market. And I've had a lot of experience. I've also made a lot of money. I've lost a lot of money as well. And what I learned from this is that no matter how much money you make, you have to meet the right people. You have to be in the right place at the right time. And starting from a few years ago, I think the new RWA market has been able to be launched because cryptocurrency has not been regulated or did not have any rules, any particular rules that we can say it's legitimate or there's jurisdiction in certain countries. But starting from a few years ago, I think the moment after the USA made some new rules and the result from the Ripple case, after that I soon realized that there's going to be a new era being started in the crypto market. And after 5 years of no more crypto business that I left because I was a little afraid of meeting the wrong people again, I came back and I found a new concept where the most sustainable business in this market would be an exchange, would be a crypto exchange. And the next best market that will be very successful, very sustainable for the next 5 to 10 years, I believe that will be the RW market. It's the real world asset market where you can convert the real properties into digitalized tokens. So I was looking for that new concept, and eventually I was very lucky to find one. And currently I am associated, related to that company. I am the global ambassador of a Chinese-Malaysian crypto exchange called AllInX. And I am also a financial consultant in that company where I am promoting many investors and social leaders in the world to bring in their community members as proper members and traders in this platform so that we can create a lot of volume, create some very healthy communities, and to share the wealthness through the cryptocurrency values that we want to evaluate as the most valuable in the market. So that is what I'm doing right now.
Chris, tell me, please, as a financial consultant for the company, what exactly do you do?
Well, the reason why I mentioned my position as the global ambassador and the job itself is implying to be partially a financial consultant is because whenever you're talking about how to put money into the safe places or how to get the maximized profit from your investments, I believe that's a financial consulting. So that's why I mentioned that word, that terminology. But what I'm actually doing is my my initial job, the job that I mentioned on my previous saying, is that I'm a blockchain enthusiast, meaning that I teach people what cryptocurrency is. And cryptocurrency is based on a technology called blockchain. And blockchain is not only um, used to make tokens. Blockchain is something that can close in your information into a ledger or a type of security, a securitized safe where you can store your data in a very safe manner. It's not centralized, it's a decentralized ledger where you can keep all your precious information or any kind of data. You can expose it, but it can be anonymous and nobody can take it away unless you allow any kind of transactions to be exported. So it's a very unique, very special method to store your data. And you first need to understand how the technology was derived, why it's been expanded, and why the people admire it. It's because the objective of blockchain itself was to beat the system that was created in the world, which is actually dominating all the people of their financial situations. So there are sayings that the central banks are actually making us slaves, and they're trying to control the world. Well, some of them is true, but also it doesn't mean that everyone is forced to be in that sort of restriction. So you have a choice whether you can stay there with your easy life or you can try to come up and you can challenge yourself to be a part of the people people who are actually controlling the system. So what I think is blockchain is another method where you can share a part of having a good amount of profit in the new financial system. So in order for you to leap up to that new world, you need to study, you need to train yourself, you need to understand the background, and you need to know how to keep your assets as safe as possible. So that's the type of advice that I give to the people that I meet. I not only introduce them to new projects or new businesses just to make easy money. That's not the objective that I am pursuing. What I really matter most is that if you are going to put your money into a certain type of investment, before you even move any of your money, you should learn, you should study, and you should understand how it works, why it works that way, and what's going to happen in your near future. So you have to have mindsets to set goals, to set objectives, and to have a very, very strong mindset to be able to wait for your yields to come. And also an ability to explain what you're doing in this market. And also you need a eyesight, how to analyze the market. If we know when you see some type of media news coming up, it can be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. Sometimes it can create panic to the world, but for us, for crypto people, it can be a rather the opposite. It can be a very, very positive signal for you to, predict and to expect some very good profit. So that I'm trying to teach the people. So not only am I being what I just mentioned, a financial consultant, but I'm just trying to teach people how to manage their crypto assets in the most healthiest, safest way, so that they can minimize their losses and maximize their profits in the most safest and, if possible, most legal way ever existing in this market right now.
That's very interesting. Considering the full depth of your knowledge, what exactly does the project we're talking about today include?
Well, after all my experience in this market, I really haven't been keen with a lot of recent products because I was out of the market. I didn't trust any recent projects because the market itself was very disastrous, and most of these crypto projects, almost 80 to 90%, they are not sustainable. So they are mostly mistaken to become scams, or just because they didn't follow the compliance of the regulations set upon into the world. They well, some of them might be really scams, but I think most of them are just mistaken to be considered scams. And that's also a skill set that the company needs in order to protect their investors. And many of them fail to do that. So I've been looking for the past 4 to 5 years which new project or business would fulfill this requirement of having the skill set, the talent of keeping their investors in a safe way. And I found this new company, which prepared for the past over 2 years, already had their venture capitals set very securely. I cannot state how much they have gathered, but they've gathered pretty much a good amount so that they can sustain for a very long time. And the owner itself, they are actually the developers themselves. So they create the source codes. They didn't outsource it. They made their own source codes. They made the exchange side. They've tested it. They did the beta version. Not only do they have the exchange side complete, but they had their debit card gateway already ready 2 years ago with enough users. I think about 200,000 members using the crypto card already in their gateway. And not only did they have that, they have a lot of partners, a lot of shareholders within the company who are owning a lot of property and any kind of ownership in other businesses. So the reason why they selected those type of new venture capitals is because they were seeking for partnership so that they can launch new RWA tokens. So I immediately realized that this company was focusing mostly into the new market that will come upon, which is the RWA. And in order to successfully master this type of skill set in the new market, you need experts from the previous market, which is the Web 2 market. Because as we're entering the Web 3, there's not much of a difference. It's just a glitch, like just a small difference. And most of our company experts are from the Web 2 business. And we also need to be able to create revenue from the Web 2 while we're converting to the Web 3 business. However, not a lot of companies understand this concept, but the company that I'm associated here today, All in X, was able to create a perfect roadmap where they have a very successful business model, copying one of the most successful exchanges that were already very prominent during the past 6 to 7 years. And they are already making partnership with them, sharing the resources with them as well. And I immediately understood that their goal was to create a very stable platform, a very strong platform with liquidity and stable trading volume, which is very vital for an exchange site. Because if you go search the top 10, the current top 10 crypto exchanges, if you see their backgrounds, it's very similar to what this company is doing. So I immediately understood that they're following the protocol of the most successful predecessors in this market. Therefore, when I acquainted the directors, the owners, and the actual the people who are operating this company, this new exchange site, I understood that they had a very special, very specific goal, mindset to, and a very clear target. And that target was not a few months or a few years. It was towards becoming the top 30, top 20, and sustaining for as long as the crypto market was open. So you can see if you see the top 20, top 30 markets, you cannot predict when they're going to shut down because they are very stable, very sustainable, and their profit models are seeking to develop every time the market evolves. So they follow the market trend. So I immediately understand that the next trend will be the RW market. So by seeing this new all-in-X exchange preparing for the RWA market is something very special we need to look upon.
So you want to break into the top 20 global exchanges. Am I understanding that correctly? What's unique about your project that will allow you to do that? To realize that dream, that goal?
Well, as you can see, as I mentioned before, we are heading to the next market called the RW market. It's currently evaluated as the $17 trillion market. So it's including not only the digital asset world, but also the real property. Like, for instance, the raw materials such as silver, gold, including stocks, many commodities, and any sort of property in the real world can be considered part of this RW market. Let me give an example. Let's say, for instance, you're owning like 300 acres of land in maybe somewhere near Europe, the northern part of Europe, and it's worth nothing, but you want to start a business. So what you do is you create a great business plan, and you launch a digitalized token, and you launch it in one of the biggest exchanges in the world. And then once you get some sort of investment where people can purchase your tokens, you can use that to create a resort, or you can create like I don't know, like an amusement park or a theme park or whatever, or make a factory. And once you get the revenue out of that business, you can spread the marginal interest or the profit. It could be considered a security. It could be considered an investment. That's why, in order for you to be able to trade or actually even incubate these sort of assets, you need to be completely within the compliance of the regulatory set upon by the financial firms, institutions, such as the SEC or the CFTC. So the reason why I am evaluating this company very highly is because they are trying to do that in the most fashionable way, in the most secure way. They examine, study, and analyze the current compliances necessary. They are taking action to register the company and to create the licenses needed to legally trade, legally create these type of contracts. So not only are we able to become the top traders in the crypto market, but also we need to comply in the real world. So we need financial clearance in the most important, most influential institutions that imply the regulations in many jurisdictional areas. So this company is doing that. We've only started a few months ago. I think the marketing expansion has started only in July this year. So it's only been over 4 months. And according to the preparation that this company has been setting, it's just phenomenal. Nothing comparable to any other exchange that has existed. Because the reason why this is possible is because there are already success models existing in the past. During the past 7 to 8 years, many successful exchange sites have set their success models already open to the public. So once you follow that agenda, then it's very high. There's a high possibility that you will succeed. And this company is actually doing that. It is a matter of money. It is a matter of intellectuals, how much intellectual you're hiring and you're setting upon to create the structure for a proper business. And this company is really actually doing following the manual of how to become a successful exchange in this market. So using that protocol, the penetration into this new RWA market is just phenomenal compared to any other exchange. That is one reason why I think this company can be probably in the next top 20s, top 30s within 1 or 2 years. Right now, the All-in-X exchange is located on the top 100. Recently, it was ranging between top 96, top 97, and even not top 98. So it's coming back and forth, but still we're in the top 100. And the trading volume is 200 million US dollars. And everything is actually approved. All the data is approved by the CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. People say if you just pay money, you can list those rankings, but I disagree. In order for you to be shown in the top 100, you really need certified approval in the market. It's not easy to be listed that quickly in that position. So I do, even if it's the company that I am working for right now, I do feel that there is a high potential that this exchange will be reaching the top 60s probably next year and top 30 within a year or two, because they have all the resources, they have all the requirements needed, and they're actually doing a very good job in preparing and proceeding with all the actions that are needed to become in the top. So yes, it's actually a mission for all the people, the potential investors who are seeking, who are analyzing this company. It's their mission to realize if this is true or not. It's not my right. It's not my call to tell anyone else that this is perfect or it's imperfect. It depends on everyone who's looking at it. So it depends on everyone who's watching this video. If it's the first time you're actually getting to know about this All-in-X, then what I really request for everyone to do is just take a look. And if it is true, if it is something that really comes into your mind is something very potential in this market, then it's everyone's mission to analyze and to realize if it really is the next best thing.
Besides what's already been mentioned, what else is included in the All-in-X system?
The All-in-X exchange has been preparing their venture capital and their development since 2 years ago. And the result that they have right now, if you can actually connect to their website and the application they have released in Google Play Store and App Store, which is released to more than 125 countries in the App Store. And I know that not a lot of projects or even current successful businesses are not listed in more than 80 countries in the App Store because of the source codes having glitches or security issues. But this company was able to list in more than 125 countries, which is a milestone. And it's an exchange, just like the other any exchange you can find in the market. It's very similar. The UI is nothing totally different from the other ones. We have the spot trading, future trading. We have the stocks, all sorts of commodities. You can trade crypto. We haven't actually released all the ecosystem functions yet because we've only started about 4 months ago. And there is a staking program. It's a very special staking program, and they have an affiliate bonus where you can earn profits over profit from your partners. So you can do it alone. You can put your own funds, and you can expect the price rise of the native token that the company has released, and also earn some yields from the gaining more tokens from the staking pool. Because once you provide your liquidity to the company in order for them to be trading and creating the market-making profits, then they will share some profit with you, and the yearly ROI would be set upon a certain number, and that you can check on the webpage. But also, when you want to bring your friends, like for the affiliate program, they also have a special program itself so that you can enjoy some good profits along with your friends. And I think it's very indifferent from other platforms actually in the same manner in the successful models, such as the ones in the top 30. Some of them have this sort of affiliate program. Some of them don't. And if you see in this new coming market, this company has realized that using this type of program, affiliate program, is more effective in luring in effective members who are active, not just members who come in, just make a registration, and they trade maybe once a year or once every 2 to 3 years. Not that. The real users who come in, who trade daily, who seek for profit, seek for transactions. Because for an exchange site, you need really active users who come in very often, trade a lot, make transactions. Also, if you make an investment into the staking program, then it's a human psychology where you are expecting every day, every moment, how much money am I getting? How much am I losing? It's like it's a very psychological thing. So once you know that you have put some investment into a certain platform, you're both expecting, but also you're very worried. You have risks and you have profits. So that's why they need consultants like myself. That's why we are here to advise them and to control their mental status, because so that we can deliver them immediate information, update them, whether it could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing, but always trying to stay transparent and frank and very prompt. I think that's a very important aspect of this type of business when you're talking about financial profit, especially not only talking about the fiat profits, but crypto profits. So the company is providing this sort of very special staking program. But when I'm talking about exchanges, we're immediately thinking of two concepts. One is the centralized version, and one is the decentralized version. If we're talking about decentralized, you can see a lot of them in the market where there's no owner, there's no moderator, there's nobody actually clicking the button to approve your transactions. It's all happening through a smart contract. And in order for you to make any advancement or development, they use the governance function where they vote, and according to the majority of the voting, then maybe a new sort of development issue can be passed, and the developers can then apply a new type of function into that platform. So decentralized platforms have very transparent clarity, but they have some development issues because it's not easy to follow the evolution of the market. Whereas if you go to the centralized market, the centralized exchanges, they change everything so easily and so quickly. The problem is that you don't know when it's going to happen, because most of the time it's not decided by the community, it's decided by the company, by their shareholders, by their own intentions. So if they actually are going the wrong way, the investors would be very upset because they didn't have any of their opinions being reflected to the development of the company. So what our exchange is doing is combining those two concepts. So it's called the new concept of CDFI, where it's the background and the foundation is based on a centralized platform. However, we're using the benefits of the DeFis, of the decentralized platform. So we have governance and we have liquidity pools for the staking, and we also have the centralized spot trading, future trading, all combined into one platform. So that's why the company's name is All in X. All in one, all in exchange, all in X. Meaning they're taking the good parts from both markets, the both categories, and putting in one place so that people can take advantage to profit and to enjoy only the good things that were presented into this market. So that is the concept that we are pursuing. And we also have more functions to be open, such as like an integrated messenger. We have also AI bots for the trading. We're going to have our new RWA tokens being listed into our exchange. It's going to be coming very soon. We also have our own native token where it will be used for the transaction fees and for the gas fees when we're going to be launching our own mainnet. So our mainnet is going to be called the All-in-X Smart Chain, the ASC. Just like the other big brothers in the market, they have their own tokens, they have their own exchange. And it's a very smart move for an exchange to have their own token assetized into the digital asset of treasury. However, in order to operate that in the safest way, you need to follow compliance in the regulatory standards. So that is one thing the company needs to follow, but they are doing a very good job. All-in-X is doing a very, very good job. And any sort of profit-making structure or function needs to actually really create a profit for both sides, so that way it can be a win-win. they should be able to create enough profit for the investors, but also the company should be creating enough profit to sustain. Because if you don't have profit on both sides, then either one side is going to go to default and bail out, going to be disappearing from the market. That shouldn't be happening in order to be a very successful business. So the company is doing a very good job in creating new profit models, presenting them to the investors, and creating a very, very nice win-win situation where everyone can gain. So that is what this company is implying, preparing. And the reason why I selected this company is because they are one of the best who are doing a very good job in this aspect.
You mentioned these opportunities, and I'm sure many people listening will think they'd love to be a part of that. So, is it possible for ordinary people who don't have any expertise in investing or finance to get involved and earn money along with these developments, with your platform and with your Allnex exchange? Is that possible?
Well, since this podcast itself is a part of the media, what I want to tell you is that people should actually filter out information that is being spread through the media. Maybe you can also filter out this sort of information as well. But one advice that I want to give the people listening to this podcast is that we cannot trust everything that is shown on online media or even on the television. The government sometimes want people to trust in trends that will be towards their schedule, not ours. So when they say crypto is good, it might be the opposite. When they say crypto is bad, it might also be, the contrary. What I urge the people who are watching this video to do is to make their own research, to make their own studies. Don't rely only on media, but also try to check the past articles. Try to meet, if you have any nearby your community, try to find the person who knows blockchain or Bitcoin or all sorts of cryptocurrencies the best in their knowledge, and ask them questions. Learn the technology, learn the background, learn the history, and also get advice from experts. And before you actually understand some portion of this market, I don't urge you to put any investment at all, because I don't urge you to make any investment, because if you don't know where your money is going, then you're just blindly putting money into the black hole. That's what I think. So in order for you to convert that black hole into a safe, you need to create your own understanding of this market. So there are many academies, many sources of information where you can learn what blockchain really is, what crypto really is. You can search Google, you can search any local portals. Don't rely on recent news. Try to go to the past and analyze the news that is created for the public in general. Also, go to many dictionary or encyclopedia sites and try to learn the real techniques, the real technology of what this market is really built by. The reason why I'm saying this is because the stock market is actually very much regulated. That's why if you do any illegal actions, you will get regulated and you will get punished by the government. But for cryptocurrency, they're starting to imply the regulations, so it's a little less regulated than the stock market. That's why there are a lot of scams going on, a lot of price rigs. So it's not a very safe place to actually invest. So you need to be careful on where you're putting your money. But if you educate yourself well enough, and if you have enough experience in this market through trial and error, saying that what I mean is maybe you should start investing a small amount of money. Maybe it can be $10, $50, or even $100, less than $100. You start with that, and then you test out. Maybe you can make an investment and see the numbers and see how it works, because just looking at articles or looking at the guidebook, you're not going to learn anything. The education comes, the lesson comes when you actually put in your real money. So I urge people to at least start with a small sort of pocket money and make experience, make try to get an understanding of the market. Because if you put, like, for instance, $10, and if you lose it or you can gain it, you can just add a few more zeros into that number and actually see the data coming to you in reality. So yes, that's how I learned, putting in my own money and examining how the market moves. So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to take a very short time. It's going to take a long time for you to learn. But we still have enough time, because the market is still in its pioneering stage, and we have a lot more to go to expand this market. So yes, maybe the company that I'm working for, All-in-X, can be your first, or it can be your like third or fourth. If you are experienced, it can be your 100th. But if this is new to you, it can be your first. And I would really urge you to put in a small amount of money at first and test it out and feel how it's like. That will be the best lesson you will learn from this market. That is what I think.
And we're talking about the investment market now, and I completely agree with what you said. You absolutely have to research this area before you invest. Let's talk about the risks and the reliability of investments, specifically here.
That is what I actually wanted to add to my point, that there is no perfect investment. Although it seems promising, it seems very secure, there is no such thing as a 100% guarantee. I do believe that for my personal, in my personal opinion, I do think this is very promising and very safe and very sustainable. But for the common people, for people who are new to this market, they don't have a full understanding of all the risks that would be implied into this market. So what I would like to tell them is, if you ever decide to purchase any sort of commodities, or such as Bitcoin or Ethereum, or even our own native token, the token that is issued by this exchange, you should be able to take responsibility of your own decisions. Because although somebody did give you advice and say, hey, come on, buy this is going to make you rich, it's just an advice. But if you actually take that too serious and you only trust that person, then you're trying to imply that responsibility to the person. But it's actually your decision that you've made to take action to put your money into a certain platform. When you actually do that, you should only consider your friend's advice as an advice, not something you should rely completely upon. So before you actually do any actions in putting that transaction into a new investment, although your friend is aggressively proposing you to put that money into this investment method, I would like the people to be more serious, be more careful, be a little bit more conservative, to be able to take responsibility of their own actions, and first put in a small amount of money. Unless you're willing to actually lose everything, you shouldn't be putting your money in at any of these at all, because there is no answer. There is no guarantee. As you can see, today the date is November 20th. Very recently, the crypto market was pumping like crazy, and Bitcoin went up to over 120,000 US dollars. But right now, today, the price went down to already $82,000. So it's crashing like crazy. So you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, there are some people saying Bitcoin is the future. Bitcoin is the safest asset you can ever own. But we're not sure about that, because there is really no 100%. But the people, like experts like me, we know that if there is an up, there's always a down. And when there's a down, there's always an up. So it goes up and down all the time. We don't know when it's going to happen. There is a cycle to this market as well. So you need to open your eyes, really see the vast boundaries of this market. It's expanding, but even the experts here are not fully prepared for this kind of very fluctuant market. So yeah, everyone is still learning, even myself. Every day there's something new coming out, and I'm learning something new as well. So don't be afraid. Just follow the trend, and people should study, be very careful, but you should be able to take responsibility of your own actions. That's what I think is most important in this market. Um, and we should thank the people who are giving this information to you, because it's a new market and it's the new profit making model, which was different from the traditional banking system. And we all know that the old banking system is slowly dying out and the new banking system is coming up. And the US government has already stated that the next financial future would come from the cryptocurrencies. Some say it's good, some say it's bad. I'm still in between. I don't know whether it's very good or bad, but it's the trend. And if we cannot avoid it, we got to enjoy it. And within those boundaries, we need to find the safest way, the most securable way possible, uh, in order to keep your assets in place, and to minimize the losses that will come to you. So, yes, you need to understand the risk that this market has. Even today, when Bitcoin is dropping like 10% in a few hours. So that's going to happen to anyone. But also the opposite will happen. It might go up 20%. It might go up 30% in a few days. So yes, you need to observe. You need to study. You need to be patient, and also be very open to all information, and also push yourself to experience more in this market, to become an expert. You need to become an expert to earn from anything. So if today is your first day learning about cryptocurrency, welcome to this world. You still have a good chance to become an expert in a very quick time, in a very short amount of time, because this is now the online world. If you open your phone and you study for just a few weeks, you'll almost know everything that happened in this market. And there are a lot of YouTube, a lot of TikTok videos teaching you how to learn this market, learn about this market. So don't be afraid. Prepare yourself. Even though you're not going to be investing in any of the cryptos, it's still very good information that you understand the next market. Why the US government, why the world governments are following this trend of digitalizing their assets to the treasury. So yes, you must understand the risks, but as the terminology exists, you know that higher the risk, higher the profit. So yeah, it's a market that it's worth learning, worth taking challenge, and hope everybody in this market gets their happiest moments. But that will only come when you are prepared and when you are fully educated. You can educate yourself, or you can always ask your friends nearby who already know mostly about crypto. So I can be your friend, or maybe you can be someone else's friend. But please don't be afraid. It's a very good market. If I would like to add some final words, I just want to tell the audience of this podcast that there are a lot of investment methods. Not only cryptocurrency, but you have gold, silver, all the raw materials. You have the actual world where you can buy commodities or invest into properties. But since the world is evolving and the top-notch companies in the world, they are all following this specific trend, which is digitalization of properties. And the specific name for this market is called the RWA, the real world asset market. And as I mentioned earlier in the first part of this podcast, I said it was a 17 billion US dollar market. I'm sorry, 17 trillion? It's a 17 trillion market. And all the richness will be converted into this market, because whenever a new market opens, it's first come, first serve. So the people might still be afraid, scared of this new market, because there's no answer. There's no success model yet. But since the world is following this trend, I think it's very important for people to start learning, start to understand what will come. And if you want to see what will come, it's very important for you to learn history, Just like if we learn about World War One, World War Two, the Vietnamese War, then you can apply to that history and see, why did this war happen? Why did that war happen? Why are people fighting each other? In such manner also, there are investment eras, like trends, like in the industrial age, like the second industrial revolution, the third revolution. Right now, we're in the fourth industrial evolution. If we look at the past, we can see that these sort of trends are inevitable. So, in order for you to understand this market, it's always I think it's very suggestible that you look for platforms that will teach you about this new market. For instance, well, I'm not only talking about All in X, but it can be another exchange or another type of project or platform that is related to the RWA market. So you won't know unless you experience it. As I said before, you will never understand fully unless you actually take a deep look, put your money into it. So I think that small investment will be your lesson fees. If you're learning something, you shouldn't be afraid to invest into your own self. So it's like paying your tuition fee for learning something very important in your life. So that is why I urge everyone to start learning about this RW market and how to stay safe at the same time. Or if you want to really test it out, you can just throw your money and try to learn at least something, because we won't be able to avoid this new trend coming. RW market will be here, and there will be people earning a lot of money through this new market. So even though you're not interested, I think it's very important for each and one of you to at least understand what this is all about. So if you are really willing to learn, then maybe joining one of our platforms and putting in some small money would really help you learn about this market and give you more interest into digging in deeply, so that you can follow this trend, this mega trend. That is my advice to our listeners of this podcast. And if ever one of my friends, if any of you actually know me personally, then you can get the connection and I can personally meet you guys and hopefully give you more information about this market, more advice on how to learn effectively about this new crypto trend. So that is my mission. I'm always going to stay as a blockchain enthusiast, teaching people about this market, about the risks and about the profits and about the good things, to stay transparent and safe and always doing a healthy business, having a great communication method, and having great relationships with great people.
Chris, I want to thank you for this podcast. Today, you've shared a message that people need to think about, those who want to look to the future and actually receive dividends from their investments. It's about conscious investing, it's about investing in the future. And today, you've opened the door for many people into this new world. Now, the choice is up to each person to move forward or to stay where you are today. But conscious investments, future focused, promising projects, they exist today, and we've shared this opportunity. Chris, I thank you. For those who are with us, you're welcome.
Thank you for having me, and I hope everyone a happy life.